It feels like a fresh lease on life. Now that the Switch 2 is official, now that the June Direct is official, man, everything just feels that much better to talk about. And so right now, we're going to discuss the newest rumors and leaks that have popped up from popular leakers since Furukawa's confirmations, interesting timing, and now a new wave of what comes next begins. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you guys are excited about the future of Nintendo, because at least we know the future of Nintendo. Maybe not the specifics, not every game, but we've got games coming up. We've got a Direct in June, hallelujah, and we've got a Switch successor to be announced sometime, soonish, kinda. It's gonna get announced. It's confirmed. It exists. Thank goodness. Now, leaker Brazil is a very popular leaker in 2024 because Brazil is responsible for the initial leak about the Switch 2's delay. And he seems to be right. The fact that Furukawa confirmed the Switch 2 will not be discussed in the June Direct seems to indicate no summer reveal and therefore a 2025 launch. That's what we're kind of taking at face value right now. Plans could change. We could find out Nintendo's hiding an ace in the hole, but most likely that's where we're at. And that would mean that Brazil was legit. Now, Brazil comes in today after Furukawa's statement with a bunch of new leaks and rumors and predictions, I guess, from his part. He separates which ones are speculation and which ones are leaks/rumors, so we'll go through those and note where needed. He says the Switch 2 is slated for March 2025 still. Nothing has changed since he originally reported on this. That would most likely mean a late 2024 reveal, an early 2025 blowout, and a March 2025 launch, which mirrors the Switch 1 and makes a lot of sense. He then says to expect the announcement to pan out similar to Switch 1, as we just discussed, and that the third-party games should be allowed to mention Switch 2 multi-platform releases from June on, even without Nintendo showing it, since Nintendo themselves is now openly talking about the system existing. So from June on, that would be Summer Games Fest time and a lot of the showcases, we're going to start hearing about Switch 2 games. Even if they're not directly labeled Switch 2 games, they can say that they're coming to the Switch successor. That also makes a lot of sense. Maybe not right now, let's let things kind of pan out, but starting next month with all the big summer showcases, boom, have at it third parties. Say your game is coming to Switch. Now, as I mentioned in a different video, I do think Nintendo will probably hold on to some of the biggest third-party gets for their own presentation. For example, Monster Hunter Wilds would be a great fit on Nintendo Switch since Monster Hunter Rise did so well, and the next Monster Hunter is hugely anticipated. Capcom supported the Switch 1 very strongly. I expect them to do it again, but that's probably an announcement that Nintendo saves for their own presentation. So some games will show up with Switch 2 branding, next Switch successor, whatever you want to call it, and some won't, but it doesn't mean that those games won't eventually get there. Brazil also says that the Direct in June is the last proper Switch 1 Direct, but he's heard rumors about another partner showcase later in the year. This seems to indicate that there either would not be a September Direct, or that the September slot would be filled with a partner showcase instead. That is interesting, but it makes sense. It does make me wonder if there's no December first-party game, because typically the September Direct reveals early 2025, like early next year titles, as well as updates late that year titles, like late 2024 titles. But Nintendo might think that they don't have enough, or that they can handle that with a June Direct and then Twitter reveals, maybe a game-specific Direct. We can't rule that out. If Metroid Prime 4 is the big holiday game, there could easily be a game-specific Metroid Direct. A partner showcase later in the year, though, could be kind of cool. And I wonder, would cross-gen games be fair game there? I think so. I think even when Metroid Prime 4 gets announced, they might say that it's coming to Switch and eventually the next Switch system. They could. So we're looking at a Direct in June, last proper Switch 1 Direct according to Brazil. That would make me think the partner Direct, the partner showcase would be in September. Brazil also says an Indie World in August. So that makes a pretty full slate of presentations. We just recently had an Indie World that I thought was pretty strong. If the June Direct can be strong, the August Indie World can be strong, and the September Partner Showcase can be strong, then we've got 3 presentations kind of all in a row, 2 months apart, that can deliver us games in many flavors. Nintendo first party, third party, indie. I like that plan. Brazil also says he's personally aware of a couple of multi-platform games that'll be announced for Switch 2 early on in the next quarter. So the next quarter begins April, May, June, so July. So he's aware of a couple multi-platform games that will be confirmed for Switch 2, probably after Summer Showcase, after Summer Games Fest, after the June Direct, and that's pretty nifty as well. It does seem that now the floodgates are open for publishers to start to confirm their titles for the next Switch system, and we'll get to see some of the early third-party support. We probably won't get any launch dates or launch windows from these third parties, so no interesting info there, but it will be nice to know what games are planning and targeting to come out, and if there are games launching in the March-April timeframe, it'll be interesting to see if they are coming to the Switch successor versus games in, say, the February-January timeframe that might not list it. Or maybe they do list it and they're coming after, but it's going to help us, I think, piece together the timing of launch when we do start to hear about these third-party games and see their release dates for other platforms, and then can kind of compare that to what our expectation is for Nintendo. He does say that Nintendo will announce more remasters in the Direct, but he expects Metroid Prime 4 to be the last big reveal for Switch 1. He thinks it will be released this year, but that is speculation. So he knows of more remasters. It's probably Zelda Wind Waker, Zelda Twilight Princess, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. And he does know that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the last big Switch game, but he thinks that, the release timing is just TBD. That's his prediction. He says that he expects more leaks to also come out now that the successor has been mentioned, and that makes a lot of sense, right? Now that this is out there, it's fair game. It's fair game for third parties. It's fair game for leakers. More and more people will feel confident commenting on this. More and more people will feel confident divulging what they know because Nintendo has officialized it in some capacity. And in many ways, that's the best part about Nintendo officializing it. Like, yeah, okay, now it's confirmed from Nintendo, but duh, we knew they weren't going to stop console development. It's just that now all these other players can start to much more freely talk about their plans, talk about their future. And I think the best part about all of this is that we do have that future laid out. And Brazil's leaks are very widespread. I mean, he's basically covering the rest of the year. The expectation for when Nintendo fully reveals the console, for when they launch it, for when third parties start talking about it, for when some games that he's heard about start talking, for a partner showcase, for an indie world. Brazil just gave us like a very important leak that I think is being overshadowed by Furukawa's comments, understandably so, but it's important to consider that if this is to be believed, and if this is to be accurate, there's our year. June Direct, August Indie World, September Partner Showcase, give us some big games, and it does bring quite a bit of pressure on that June Direct to deliver for not only us as fans and watchers, but for Nintendo as well. Like we talked about how they are expecting to sell quite a few systems. Quite a few systems for a final year of a console, and quite a few systems for a year that has started off a bit slow. So they do anticipate their end-of-year titles to be big hitters. They do expect them to not only move software, but to move hardware as well. And I don't think you're drawing people into the Switch ecosystem with Wind Waker or with Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I think you draw people in maybe with Metroid Prime 4, maybe a new Donkey Kong tied to your theme park opening, and maybe some surprises here or there. A new Mario Party would be mega, I think, and that could be one that really does get even more families and even more players involved in the Switch. But this leak is pretty darn cool. We'll keep tabs on it. We'll follow it. I do expect to hear more and more. I'm curious to see if Nate Drake has some big comments now that it's kind of out there. He's talked in the past about things he's heard and not ready to share. Maybe Piora will start talking. The June Direct, like we should expect Piora to know something about that because he's been spot on. He knows all about the games. So that'll be very interesting and exciting. But for now, this is where we're at officially from Furukawa and Nintendo, and this is where we're at unofficially from the leakers. So let me know your take in the comments down below, everybody. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.